don't think any wood turner would turn down a piece of cherry, especially a piece like this. I was given a log maybe a year or more ago, and it's dried out pretty well quickly. I've got it sitting there in the underneath the bench in the workshop here, and it's really got some nice feel about the wood itself. So I need to convert this into a nice little bowl. Got a friend of mine that's looking for a piece of cherry bowl to put onto their sideboard table. So this is about a 10-inch piece of wood. Classic bowl. Don't really know how it's going to turn out. You know my tricks. I just start turning and see what I see in the wood. Let's get stuck in. Well, sometimes these things happen, and all you have to do is put it back and start all over. When you're turning a bowl, no matter what type of wood it is, getting to this basic shape, forget about all the dips and dishes and flat spots, etc. That's the rough part. That's why they call it roughing, I guess. But it's getting to the point now where I can see the bowl shape. Certainly these flat parts here will dictate the actual shape, going for a concave and out to the bottom. Sitting on a small truck here now with a tenon, and you can already see the checking continuing through this piece of wood. So all those factors, flat spots, checking, even to the degree of this pith, which is always a cross-grain situation. We want that to be nice and smooth, always the difficulty. Yeah, going to continue with the outside first, and then we're going to hollow out the inside. Follow me. Now I've got the bowl running at about 800 RPM, and I've got the very small. So this is the 1/2-inch bowl gouge, using it on to the final touches of the outside of the bowl. This is where you can go a little bit too far, so just take it easy with this one. Make sure it's really sharp. This has just been sharpened, and we're going to take the final cut on the outside. Here we go. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. Just going to touch this up with a bowl scraper. I just use this to take out some of the tool marks that are on the outside here. Just a very light touch. This has a tendency to pull fibres out of the end grain here, so not go into very deep, just very gently moving it around on the side here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's come up nicely, and the end grain hasn't been touched. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So the outside is kind of all we need to do is now we're going to hollow out the inside. Now some of these checks, which you probably can't see on this side, but there definitely is some on here. They're very small cracks. I tend to use CO glue in these while the sanding hasn't been done. CO glue is fine for holding together these sorts of edges, because once the finish gets totaled and the bowl is finished off, they seem to be holding their way, and you know, the internals of the wood is going to prevent any further deep cracking. However, I've got to say, the rings on the outside of this bowl, again, which you can't see on the camera here at the moment, is pretty tight and very, very close to where the pith used to be. And we all know that when you're wood turning bowls and you've got the pith as a part of the wall, it will crack eventually. But I'm going to put some CO glue on some of these cracks and just to stabilise it. Okay, that looks pretty good. The finish is almost ready for sanding, to be honest. One little tip here is never revisit the rim once you've got the depth of the bowl and the thickness of the wall. I've made mistake after mistake by going back here and revisiting after the bowl has got to a degree of finish on the thickness. The vibrations in the bowl will allow the bowl gouge to bump backwards and forwards on the shaking and the vibration of the bowl itself, and you'll end up with a horrible mess. So this is where it's going to go. I can see some tool marks in there. I'm just going to leave that to sanding, to be honest. Just one more finish coat. Let's just give it a go. Famous last words. Yep, pleased with that. Okay, going to do some sanding up to 320 grit. I won't bore you with that, and we'll see what we're going to do for a finish. Using the Milan sanding sealer, I decant it into a smaller bottle from the can that it comes in, because it does go off fairly quickly in terms of the thickening up. This has been in this bottle now for about 4 or 5 weeks. It's getting really thick, but that doesn't alter the fact that it's a sanding sealer. And once you apply it to the job, it fills all those tiny little cracks and imperfections when it comes to after the sanding. And just a little tip on sanding any bowl, to be that fact, is that once you've finished your grit sandings to whatever you're going to, in this case I went to 400, you know, if you see the bowl in its natural finish after sanding, no amount of a finish or applications of finishing materials, chemicals or whatever you use on your bowls, oils, etc., is going to change what it looks like after your sanding. So make sure you spend the effort in getting the sanding to the point where you're very, very happy with the result, because it's not going to change when you put this sort of material as a finishing property. There we go, it's all done. This dries in about 5 minutes, so you just let it go. And what I normally do after that is, if you've been watching my videos, I pretty well stay on par with this material here from Acks Abrasive Sanding Paste. It's a small company based in the US. This is the sanding paste I apply onto the Mylar sanding sealer, and then I put the polishing afterwards. All these products give you a nice luster of finish. I don't generally go into the oil side of things, I just use these products and they come out really, really nice. So anyway, onwards. The finishes, I'm going to turn the bowl over now onto a pressure chuck and remove the tenon from the bottom, add the maker's badge, and should be cooking. Generally use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge to do this job, so very close and tight, just to remove this tenon and make this surface up here nice and neat. There we go. Now we want a bit of a concave here. I'm using the ruler on the bottom, so it makes room for the badge and, you know, for the bowl to be resting on the edge, not on the flat surface. It'll end up possibly altering its characteristics in the bowl shape. It might ovalize. If you've got the whole surface dead flat, it's going to move, and then of course you end up with a wobbly bowl. And we don't want wobbly bowls. Well, certainly not my missus anyway. Onto the drill press goes the bowl, and we're going to make a place for the maker's badge. That's another way of getting rid of the nub, using this. A lot of you guys have asked, what do I use to fix the badge? Well, it's medium CA glue with the activator. This fits in the hollow where the Forstner bit has made an indentation, and it's very flush, despite the fact we've got a convex here anyway, so it's going to sit on the rim, not on the actual maker's badge. Another project done. Here's the end result. I'm pleased with this one actually, even despite the fact we've got a very close area there to the actual pith here, and the checks have almost disappeared. You can see there the still on the side of the bowl, but there's quite a neat finish. Finish of the bowl is nice. It's not actually gloss. There's no materials there that can interfere with food. That's not this going to be a food safe bowl. I will never declare that. Basically, it's finished off to a nice luster. That's how I like it. And you know, I like turning cherry too. It's a nice bit of wood, particularly when it's as dry as it is. Not to powder state, but to a state where, you know, it's quite a good piece of turning. You can see there close up on the side, some nice figuring on the grain itself. Some nice little features on the outside, on the inside too. Grain structure is very, very nice indeed. I think anyone in the kitchen or on the side would like that. Anyway guys, thanks for sticking with me today. Next week. Cheers.